Alrighty, hello there. Welcome to another exciting episode of ES Fancast.
We are so glad to have you here.
Stories from insiders for the fans.
Long time ago, out of the sudden, my butt grew somehow because of all this, of all the surfing or whatever.
Mike, he uses cannabis every day. I don't know if you've ever seen, but I mean, he's smoking all day. He's eating his edibles. He says it openly. Family prefers him when he's high. He's more calm. He's more relaxed. He's in a better mental place.
Realistically, Elon's just, I mean, he's 53. He's, not in the best shape to kind of, put things in perspective, right? So, I don't know. Like, it's a very simple game plan. It's just like drag those guys into deep waters, try to survive the first couple minutes, circle around, move around, and then as the fight gets later in the round, Elon's going to gap.
When Serena came time for her to play tag, she went up and tagged the person with a closed fist. I said, whoa, Serena. Now she was 11. I go, wait. You got to keep the fist open. But that was how she played tag. And when I told her that story at the after party, after the red carpet, she's like crying, laughing, because she's a mother.
Well, I'm just smitten with Keanu. So every time he says my name, yeah, I'm just like, I honestly just melt, and my boyfriend just looks at me like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. But I can tell you this, when Keanu says my name, I just melt. Like, I mean, look at him. Like, he's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, he always has been, and he still has. Guy. Yeah, and Keanu has charisma.
The people that follow my OnlyFans are people who are into boxing, people who want to see my inside scoops with boxing, like, stuff that I don't use Instagram and Twitter a lot.
David, did Conor McGregor realize what you did to put BKFC 41 on?
Conor McGregor was actually really cool. He said, this is the best, the way he talks, like, this is the best game I've ever seen. Like, he said, this is it, man. I've never seen anything like this live. And man, I would love to fight in it, but obviously he's with the UFC. That's not going to happen. But, who knows? We are talking about doing some other things with some of those other companies, and we'll see what happens.
Why are MMA athletes so extreme? Like, because you risk all these high-end injuries. It's a high-risk, high-reward game.
Age, to me, is just a number. I think if you do the right things and you have the right training plan and the right resources, you can go as long as you want. I mean, look at Simone, like you said, she's 26. She's the GOAT. She's still on top of her game.
During that moment, when he walked up on stage and kind of greeted Chris Rock, he thought he was Richard. I mean, and you got to remember, when that guy in the movie picked on Venus and he blew a gasket, that was in my office back in the day, and he freaked out on that reporter, she's a little kid and leave her alone. I just almost felt like Will was Richard in that moment. I know people can't grab it. I think some people could, because who would do something like that on the biggest night of your life, on the biggest stage? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he was thinking. I think he was Richard, and he just reacted.
There's old school boxers that wouldn't stand a chance with some of these boxers today, but my grandfather's not one of them. My grandfather, I think, would be dominant in today's era, in his era, in any era. And I think the only problem that would come with fighting today is that you got people like Tyson Fury, who are, 6'8", something crazy, and then he weighs almost 300 pounds. So you didn't have that back in those days. You did not have that. He is like a dinosaur.
You get somebody like Alex Ferguson, and obviously you call it soccer, we call it football over here, who's Man United, 19 Premiership titles. The answer to that is that he was the most successful, but he wasn't that successful as a player. But he actually understood, and his man management was brilliant.
My favorite sneaker for basketball probably have to be the Kobe 4. So a pair of Kobe for sure, either the 4s or the 5s. I like how they look. They're real comfortable too. That's a very comfortable shoe. It's hard to get with the new way they got the technology and all that, but it's real comfortable.
I was watching Arnold Schwarzenegger now, and David Beckham is the next one.
That Arnold documentary, oh my god, like, badass.
Legendary, yeah.
Fat Joe, Big Pun, was years ago in New York, outside of a club, and they're getting in a fight with these bouncers, right? They're about to get in this fight, and they weren't going to let him in, and out of nowhere comes from behind. Mike's like, what's the problem here, guys? And Mike jumps in and ends up backing the two of them up. They end up getting in a big brawl, beat the shit out of the security, but Mike ended up backing Fat Joe and Big Pun.
We would have professional chefs working for us, so I would literally tell the chefs, you know, what to cook, when to cook it, when to time his food, things of that nature. So I kind of manage all that dynamic. And obviously because, you know, Conor's a global sensation superstar, it's like, you know, he has to go to different areas and be at different points. So we also have to manage, like, you know, his food intake on the road, which can be tricky sometimes.
If I go back to when we started to play, like Jelena, Novak, Tipsarevic and myself, and in 2006-07, when we were making a big breakthrough coming from Serbia, we had amazing support. And sometimes the fans would be even loud during the points because they were so excited. You know, finally they had someone from Serbia, and they've been probably living wherever we played. And sometimes they would make comments even during the points, which opponents would find it very annoying, which I understand. You know, being on the let's say the good side. So it can be sometimes frustrating when you play a match and someone is throwing you the comments. Sometimes maybe Novak uses it as energy, you know. Sometimes it helps him to get like a little bit more upset, to get a little bit more pumped up, so that he plays even better after that, I think.
There was a blonde, blue-eyed white girl that was supposed to be on the cover. And I said, look, Latinas are just as beautiful as these blonde, blue eyes you always put on the cover. It's about time you put a Latina on the cover. And so he said, let me get your pictures back and then I'll get back to you. And so 2 weeks later, I got the call that I was the cover.
Which actor could possibly replace Will Smith to play Muhammad Ali in the 2001 biopic Ali?
I would say Denzel Washington, only because he was originally gonna play that role. That's the only
we got him on the.
He turned it down. He turned it down, but I would say Denzel just because I'd like to see what he'd be like.
Obviously, Mark, you know, his documentary was The Social Network. But do you think we should make a documentary around his MMA journey? Like, can we get some of that?
Yeah, maybe one day when maybe if he decides to do like a MMA fight, there could be like a countdown show or like a Netflix special, you know, on him. I think that'd be super cool.
My first concert ever was Avicii at Red Rocks.
That's a good one. At Red Rocks.
And I think, it was amazing. Like I've never been to a concert before that in my life. I went with like 5 of my best friends. I didn't know what to expect. All I knew that I loved the song Levels, and that's why I was going to see this guy. And that night changed my love for that type of music for the rest of my life.
Everybody needs short stuff. Everybody's focusing over here, they're focusing over there. Well, I got 5 2-minute rounds, and half the fights end in knockout. So our average fight is 5 minutes. You're not watching a fight for 36 minutes. You're not watching a fight for 25 minutes. You're watching a fight for 5 to 7 minutes. And it's the most exciting product in combat sports right now.
Honest answer here. How many times a day does Ric Flair say "woo"? Like how? Like
anytime I'm on the phone with him, at least once in the conversation.
Our diet would comprise of when I'm speaking to Conor, like, you know, of Conor, it's like, you know, multiple. We've a wholesome variable diet. We include all foods that are applicable to our goal and our nutrient quality and what we are required.
To be honest, they are not really into tennis. Sometimes they play a little bit, especially the middle one, but the middle one really likes football. He likes sport in general, but he's more football, basketball, but not so much tennis, which I'm absolutely fine with. I play a little bit with my husband, that's okay.
I hate modeling. I hate posing for magazines. I do it, but I hate posing for magazines. I hate.
Why?
It's to me, it's the most boring thing in the world.
Being the son of Tiger, you face this unnatural amount of pressure. You know, for a junior golfer like Charlie, do you think the expectations on him are unhealthy? Is that what's actually going to make him great later on?
The young lad's got a lot of pressure on him because of his father, but there again, there's been, you know, Jack Nicklaus has kids, and they had an awful lot of pressure on them. Two of them were professional golfers, and they didn't quite make it. Gary Player's son was a professional player. So, the answer to that is that, just because you've got a great father that's a great player, it doesn't guarantee.
My favorite shoes to wear, probably like just like if I'm trying to look good. Oh no, it can go. It depends. Like, it just got to depend on the day. Like someday I'll throw on some Jordans or some Crocs, depending on what I'm trying to feel like. But I'm trying to really just like step out. Like,
I'm curious, what was your girlfriend Lily's reaction to like the Reddit thread, and like did she tease you about it?
I'm not sure if she read it, but yeah, I'll have to ask her, because you guys just reminded me of that. I was not hearing it for a long time, apart from my physio from time to time.
I don't know if you know Rick's story, but I mean, he was on Xanax to help him sleep for over 30 years.
I think people have this misconception that fighters should be like, this weight of ripped and lean, all year long.
Mark is actually interested in moving on to an actual, I don't know, like he's such a competitive guy that he wants something legit.
So many years in the spotlight, and now last few years with social media, I think it creates extra pressure that maybe I didn't have, like especially looking back to 2008, we had no social media. So now everything is instant, everything is constant, and I think it creates a lot of tough emotions.
In 1 second, you get all over the globe, where my dad did it old school, where he was in the papers and on the radio, but he was still considered a global figure.
For me, competition day is like my day. Like, that is what I look forward to. It's like after all the hard work, and you get to go out there and like compete in front of people that maybe have never seen you before, like that's what I like doing. And
it would be nice to see them go head to head, Rory and Brooks, at some stage in one of the majors. That would be nice.
So I love his attitude. He's a pit bull. He's a grinder. He's great for American tennis because he's all about the competition. But I love his attitude. And if people, it's not disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? You're a competitor. And people from the outside, they cannot relate to a high-level athlete.
We launched our whole entire sport. So Dana White didn't actually launch it, but he took the bull by the horns, and he grew this thing into the juggernaut it is today. So whatever anybody says bad about him and what he's done, his personal life, that's on him, right? But at the end of the day, is the guy built this little tiny thing into a major, major sport. Really, he built MMA. I definitely see how people could say that there are some similarities. Absolutely. If I could grow this thing into half of what the UFC is, I hit a grand slam in life, and that would be an amazing thing.
Seeing how authentic and real these guys were, it was a no-brainer. The whole thing, and hence the success. I think why we become the biggest in this space and like Gio covered is their authenticity and just how real our talent is.
Not much. Like, he's just a very driven individual, hardcore for training. Like, follows his diet like to a T. Like, I see all these misconceptions out in the media. It's absolute crap, So I just know Conor to be a very hardworking individual. Trains very well.
Tokyo, it was definitely weird. Every morning you did a COVID test. We weren't allowed to leave the hotel. They had police officers to, tell the Olympic Committee if you disobeyed the health rules.
All jokes aside, you're in that dark place, and would you say MMA really saved you in terms of, redirecting your path?
Absolutely. After football, I was lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. And a lot of people go through that. They're playing a college sport or a high school sport, even anything. And it kind of just stops. And then it's more like kind of like a what do I do now type situation. And that's exactly what I had. When I was done with football, it was kind of like a what do I do now? So what I did was I went out and I would do stupid stuff, tried stupid stuff, act stupid.
Were you in college at this time?
Yeah, I was in college.
Okay.
And what I was doing was I was numbing the pain that I had from football, you know, because I had to deal with the not getting an opportunity due to like political reasons and stuff. And a lot of athletes go through this, you know. So I'm no different than any of these other athletes that have gone through this. You know, I was just one of them. And yeah, really what I was doing was I was going out and I was trying to drink away my problems, drink away my anger. And what it did is it made me more angry and it made me more lost.
He says on his fitness and his nutritional protocols and foods and you know, he doesn't miss a beat.
We scoured the internet and got some questions that fans want to know about you. We call this segment the rapid fire question. We have 60 seconds to get some answers for you. You think you up for the challenge, my brother?
More than ready for it.
All right, set the timer, y'all. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Can LeBron James be a better basketball superstar than Michael Jordan?
Yes.
Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Yao Ming. Who was the most dominant physical specimen in the NBA court?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Pick one. Kobe and Shaq's Lakers or Jordan and Pippen's Bulls?
Jordan, Pippen, Bulls.
Like that. If given a chance, which NBA star skill would you pick? Kevin Durant's fadeaway, Nikola Jokic's shuffle, or Kawhi Leonard's baseline pull-up?
Fadeaway. KD fade.
Okay. Which basketball player would you consider your fashion icon?
Shai Gilgeous.
Who would you call your toughest opponent in a potential one-on-one at Overtime Elite?
Hype Jackson.
On your future NBA debut, which celebrity would you like to see sit courtside?
SZA.
Which would you call the second largest basketball league in the world after the NBA? EuroLeague, Liga, ACB. Man, I wanted to ask you all those daggone questions, but bro, you definitely was on it.